War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Road Report podcast brought to you by TagMeADate.com. First and only daily site for wrestling fans coming back soon. Another Tuesday, some more breaking news. Stone Cold will be at WrestleMania, and I don't know if I'm happy about it, so we'll get into it soon. But a lot has gone on. We had AEW Revolution, amongst many other things. So welcome, everyone. We have a lot to cover. We got Eddie and Eric. I'm assuming Vince will be with us at some point. Maybe Kat. Who knows? But what's going on, guys? Hello. Hello? Eric?
Hey, I'm here.
There we go. I got somebody. I don't know. I didn't know if it was me or if it was on the other end. Here, Eddie's coming back in now. Let's see if he's working. How you doing, Eddie? Eddie?
Yay.
There we go. What's up, brother?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
I'm doing good. We got a lot to cover. Cover.
For sure. Oh.
We had AEW Revolution. Stone Cold Steve Austin will be at Mania. Not sure if I'm happy about it or not.
What?
We got Vader going into the Hall of Fame.
What?
We've got Revolution. Did I mention Revolution?
What?
WWE 2K dropped.
What?
I mean, the list goes on. And then, of course, there's Vince. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, man?
What?
Good to see you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. How about you?
Awesome. Great.
So we were just going over the list because there's a lot to fucking cover. You know, we have Vader. We have Austin. Not sure if I'm happy about it. We have Revolution, 2K. I mean, we have a lot going on.
Oh yeah, 2K. How awful is that? I haven't even looked.
Let me tell you something. As of right now, and I think Eddie, you got it. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it is fucking awesome so far.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I actually so far just messed with the actual gameplay. I didn't actually go dive too hard into it. But I was just messing around, and obviously I had to start off by acknowledging our tribal chief, and I had to actually start off with playing with Roman and actually going ahead and just having a good match and just doing that. And it was pretty cool, man. The gameplay and getting the gist of it. It's a lot different than any other game that we used to play from the previous ones. But
it's definitely more arcadey in a way, but it's not too fast. It can be at times. The graphics are insane. So far, I have encountered one glitch, but that's going to happen. I'm sure there'll be patches. I've only for me to get down the gameplay, because the gameplay is completely different. For the most part, there's a couple things that are the same, but for the most part, it changed. So I went right into the GM mode. And I am Stephanie McMahon, the GM of Raw or SmackDown against Raw, and I'm playing the matches and learning the gameplay, and it's pretty good, and the graphics are insane. I'm very happy with it so far.
Cool, man. That's good to know. Yeah, I saw that comment too about Vader. There was a push while Vader was still alive to get him into the Hall of Fame. And I remember people, Vader commenting on it, and I remember people on the internet kind of, I don't want to say starting a movement or anything, but you know what I mean? Like there was definitely talk of like, we should get this guy into the Hall of Fame, and people tweeted about it and people made posts, social media posts about it, but it never picked up steam, and then he passed away.
Well, you know what they say, better late than never. He's going in. So,
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see him go in.
Oh, for sure. Vader is, that's why people were kind of, feeling some way about it. Vader should have been, if there's a Hall of Fame, Vader should have been in years ago compared to some, like, and the other rumor that's being floated around is Sid Vicious.
I'd be okay with that.
Sid Vicious should already be in the Hall of Fame, as far as I'm concerned. Sid
I
Vicious
agree.
Had,
Yeah.
He had, if between WCW and WWE, he was a champion in both, if I'm not mistaken, world champion. And I mean, the guy was, if you looked at you're like, I need an 80s pro wrestler. That's a guy, like if you were just to draw an 80s pro wrestler, it's Sid Vicious. Tall guy, wild blonde hair, crazy look in his eyes, screaming, like not even like eloquent promos, just screaming at you.
Well, most of the time his promos didn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
It was kind of like Warrior.
He was like Warrior, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, it's like, he didn't get by on the eloquence of his words. He got by on the intensity.
He was the master and ruler of the world.
Oh man, he said that one time in WCW, I'm twice the man that you are, and I've got half the brain that you do. No.
We're live.
And then
here,
it was
pal.
Nash just laughing.
Nash and Hall were cracking up when that happened. Oh, and the "We're Live, Pal" one with JR. That he starts going through. He's like, can I try that one again? We're live, pal.
It's so funny.
Honestly, no, Vader is a very deserving talent of the Hall of Fame. So would Sid Vicious if they decide to put him in.
Probably
Obviously,
the best
you've got
monster
Undertaker.
heel of all time.
Yeah, maybe this is the year. If this could be thematic, Undertaker, Vader, and Sid Vicious.
Yeah,
Three big monsters going into the Hall of Fame in the same year. That would actually be kind of cool.
It'll be very interesting to see how else this plays out. But I'm glad to see Vader going in. So far, Hall of Fame shaping up to be good. Although, like we said last week, I would be totally fine with it being just Taker too.
Yeah, you don't need a million. Like they really messed up in the every year they put in 5, 6, 10 people, whatever it was. Like there were too many people going in, and some of them may not.
Limited to like 4 or 5 a year.
I would even say 3. Just because like we're inducting Tori Wilsons now. You know what I mean? Like we don't need to be inducting the Tori Wilsons of the wrestling world into the Hall of Fame. It should be reserved for Hackenschmidt and Buddy Rogers and Lou Thez and fucking Hulk Hogan's and Stone Cold's. You know what I mean? Like, you go, oh, Lou Thez is a Hall of Famer and so is Tori Wilson. And you're like, well, something ain't right here.
Well, that's been a lot of people's beef with the Hall of Fame. Some of the people going in just should not,
Yeah. But I see the hashtag at the bottom of the screen. If you're watching the live stream, our lower third here was just changed to hashtag AEW Revolution. And of course, on Sunday night, AEW had their buy-in pre-show. They had the Revolution pay-per-view for 2022. We were talking about this last Tuesday, that Revolution usually delivers, even though it's not like even though it's not all in or whatever, whatever their big, it's not sold as their WrestleMania. Revolution always delivers, always has very solid matches.
I agree.
I didn't fail this year, man. Holy shit. This year was it was a banger for sure.
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard nothing but good things. Like I heard it's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to complain, you go, oh, well, one of the women's matches, Thunder Rosa didn't win, or like, oh, Jade, whatever. Oh, Jade's too green against it. Those were fine too.
Most of these have been better than WWE pay-per-views for a while.
for like 2 years.
Yeah, that's pretty safe.
But we'll, I guess. Oh gosh, what opened the show? Oh geez, Jericho and Kingston opened the show, and that was a hell of a match. Eddie Kingston picking up his first pay-per-view win ever.
Good to see him get put over
by submission. Like Jericho tapped out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So happy to see Kingston.
But that tells you that Jericho feels a certain way about Kingston to take that job.
Oh, for sure. He's and even though Kingston's an older guy, what 39, 40, maybe 41, whatever it is, I think he's still got a lot of gas left in the tank. And I think if they needed somebody to be world champion or TNT champion, he could fill that role, I think, really easily.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, they could. I mean, I thought I was all for him beating Moxley, and then losing it back to Moxley eventually. But like, I thought during that whole thing with the I Quit match, that whole feud, it would have been cool to have like a surprise title change with Kingston winning. But I think his time's coming. There's no doubt in my mind that Eddie Kingston's going to be getting some gold. Going to be getting. Can you hear me? Okay, I feel like I'm dropping out.
No, I hear you good.
Perfect. All right, must just be my headphones. Yeah, I think there's gold in the future for Eddie Kingston.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
And this is, like just days after the
announcement. But this AEW has just been a home run every fucking time.
Yeah.
Their pay-per-views are just constantly solid.
Yeah, because we'll just go through this. I'm scrolling to the page to find the. Geez, the Wikipedia page for Revolution that happened yesterday is like pages long. I don't get it. Anyway, Kingston defeated Jericho. Oh, then we had the triple threat. I mean, they really didn't have a come down match. Everything was kind of match after match, like just high energy. We had a 3-way for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Your champions, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. The Jurassic Express retained over Red Dragon, the team of Bobby Fischer, Kyle O'Reilly, and the Young Bucks, of course, Matt and Nick Jackson, accompanied by Brandon Cutler. This seems to be the tradition with Revolution, where they have a big-time tag team match as one of their marquee matches. And I know that was always the Young Bucks' vision, was that WWE and some other companies don't focus on tag team wrestling as much. They want to put out that tag team wrestling can be as much of an attraction as singles stuff. And here we are. I mean, 3-way match. It not only did the Jurassic Express get over, but the feud between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks is developing. The drama or the stress of Adam Cole having to try and keep these two groups of friends together. Interesting times we're in here. But yeah, great match, solid match. Jurassic Express picked up the win. Just solid tag. Like, I love tag team wrestling, and these three teams know what they're doing, man.
Yeah, it was a home run. It really was. I mean, was there really, like, could you sit there and say there was one bad match?
People are criticizing Britt Baker against Thunder Rosa.
The only thing that they're criticizing is that she didn't win clean.
Yeah, which seems to be, well, so here's the deal. In a couple weeks, Dynamite's going to be in Thunder Rosa's hometown of San Antonio, Texas. And in the week before that, Layla Hirsch and Thunder Rosa are going to have a number 1 contenders match, because with the loss, Rosa bumps down to probably number 2. With her win on the pre-show against Statlander, Layla Hirsch bumps up to number 1, and they're going to have an eliminator match. Whoever wins goes to face Britt Baker. But Thunder Rosa, in a tweet, which was recently deleted, it was tweeted and then deleted pretty quickly, said that the winner of the eliminator match faces Britt Baker in San Antonio in a cage, so no interference. So it sounds like Thunder Rosa, cage match in her hometown, beats Britt Baker. I hope so, because otherwise, I mean, we built up to this pay-per-view. I thought it. Everybody and their mother thought that Thunder Rosa was winning this match, and she didn't. So,
Yeah, but I also feel that's why they didn't go that way.
right, I feel.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I also kind of think that it's like everybody's expecting it, so maybe let's not give them exactly,
And look,
because
if that's the end game, I'm okay with it.
yeah, oh, I definitely think it's the end game. I think Rosa wins for sure.
Oh, Rose is definitely taking it in the end. I
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, and I mean this was big. The first of all, we had a great ladder match, Face of the Revolution ladder match. The biggest, or one of the biggest reactions of the night, because there's some other things that come later. Wardlow grabs the brass ring and is your Face of the Revolution qualifier, or now he's the winner of that match. He's the new number one contender. Great match, and leads up to, so not only does it include a feud with Sammy Guevara or a feud with Scorpio Sky. Yeah, if you haven't watched, listen, there are ways to watch this pay-per-view even though it's been aired. We'll let you know. We'll let you know later. But Wardlow got a huge reaction for winning that match. He's still got this thing with MJF where he's an employee of MJF, but not an employee of AEW. So there's a whole thing there, which I'm looking forward to. And just the match in general. Keith Lee launched Orange Cassidy to the point where Orange Cassidy might legitimately have messed up his shoulder on the landing. Hard-hitting ladder match with a bunch of big boys in it, man. What else can you...
Big boys that can go.
Yeah, exactly. They can go. And there was a Danhausen appearance. He cursed some people. It was...
Let me tell you something. Danhausen is becoming one of my favorite people.
Ugh, I can't stand it.
He doesn't have to wrestle.
Orange
I knew
Cassidy
that was
horrible.
coming.
That's my
even worse.
favorite thing is always, I don't ever... Honestly, I don't care if he can wrestle. I don't even want to see him wrestle a match. He could just interview people or, like, show up and curse people.
I don't want to see
that's
him
all he
at
needs
all.
to do. He doesn't need to wrestle.
I knew Eric wouldn't like him.
Oh, yeah, because he doesn't like Orange Cassidy either.
But to me, I mean, that's just gold. He is so funny. He's so funny.
He should, people are saying, like, TNT used to have a show called Monster Vision. Joe Bob Briggs would show you a movie and talk about it. It was a horror movie. And people are thinking that maybe Danhausen should bring back Monster Vision on TNT or TBS with Danhausen as the host.
I would be awesome.
Because I mean, we're going to watch Night of the Living Dead. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? I'd watch Night of the Living Dead with that guy. Sure. Yeah, ladder match was great. Jade Cargill defeats Ty Conti for the TBS championship. It's a fine match. They're good. Ty knows what she's doing.
Kiss of death.
Jade, still green, still within her first year, but I mean, she's good. Like, she's not at the top of her game. She's a very good athlete who obviously follows instructions very well and trains very hard. And I think if she can keep up what she's been doing this year and continually improving, she's going to be one of the top women's wrestlers from an attraction stand. Like she's tall, she's imposing, she's in good shape, she's got a unique look. If she can put all of that together with the wrestling stuff, she's going to have fine time in wrestling. Oh, here's the one though. Dog collar match.
Oh man, I bet that was awesome.
CM Punk beats MJF. First of all, it starts out with
the entrance. You
well,
got to start with the entrance.
The two entrances.
True.
Because first you hear Cult of Personality, and then it cuts out and goes into MJF's theme, and MJF walks out. Chorus of boos. Then this AFI song plays, which, if you know the song, you know that this particular AFI song, Miseria Cantare, whatever it was CM Punk's entrance theme through his Ring of Honor tenure. That was always his theme. And that music hits. The people who know, like Ring of Honor fans in the crowd were going crazy. He
How does
comes
that
out.
go? Because I love AFI.
I mean, I'll send you either the entrance or a link to the song because it's kind of hard to describe. But like, it's a song that really fits a wrestling entrance. It's very intense. They put the lights down. They shine like a lone spotlight on Punk, and he comes out not just with the retro music, but with the retro CM Punk basketball shorts with the 3 X's, the straight edge X's on the side.
Like
He comes out with a
Ring
zipped
of
up,
Honor.
zipped up tracksuit jacket like he always wore. They announced him as the Second City Saint, CM Punk, which was his old. Funny enough, that was his tag team with Colt Cabana, was the Second City Saints. Him and one other guy, Ace Steel maybe. But anyway, total throwback to Ring of Honor, an homage to Punk's Ring of Honor career and his dog collar match with Raven in Ring of Honor. There were a lot of callback spots in that match, in the Punk MJF match, to the Raven Punk match from Ring of Honor. I think there were a few callbacks to Piper Valentine, as there should be.
Yeah, like "Won't You Be My Valentine."
That was great.
That promo was.
And they used that in the promo package right before the match too. Awesome. Hard hitting. Both guys bled. They were wearing light colors. I think MJF wore pink and Punk wore all white, and they were just covered in blood.
Hopefully, no one went partially deaf.
I would hope not. Yeah, that's the what was it? Piper went partially deaf from the chain that hit him in the ear, right?
Yep.
Jeez. Yeah, so I don't think any disastrous injuries like that, but I mean it was a hard-hitting match. They both bled a lot, and the finish, which is why I say the Wardlow winning the ladder match reaction might not be the biggest reaction of the night. The biggest reaction of the night might be when MJF calls out Wardlow, asks for the diamond ring. Wardlow checks his pockets. Oh, I must have left it backstage.
That was great.
That was awesome. And MJF turns right around into a go to sleep from Punk. He's out. And then Wardlow goes, it was in my right pocket instead of my left pocket. Whoops. And just
my bad.
The way he did it was great because he took the ring out, put it inside the wrestling ring, and walked away. He didn't hand it to Punk. He did what he was told by MJF, to come out and put the ring in the ring. Technically, he did what he was told. Punk puts the ring on, picks up MJF. MJF spits at him. Punk hits him with the ring, knocks him out, pins him. End of the match. And finally, after how many years of interference with that stupid ring and winning that stupid Battle Royal 3 years in a row, which he never should have done. I think it was stupid that he won it 3 years in a row. But I'm so glad somebody finally took that ring and got the revenge on MJF with it, because he was just, he was running through it. The ring seemed to be the only the ring and Wardlow seemed to be the only reasons he was winning. So maybe now we can start to see a change in the way MJF wrestles, because watching MJF is the same as watching Dr. Britt Baker. There's just going to be interference. Somebody's going to come out and then it's going to be a fuck finish, and you go, oh, all right, it's kind of a waste of time. Like, MJF's matches were just getting to that point where it's like, why bother watching an MJF match? Wardlow's just going to come out and interfere. Now, I think we're past that. We got to, MJF's got to sink or swim on his own, 25 years old. No managers, no gimmicks, no ring. You know what I mean? You have to be MJF now, dude. And I think he's going to do it, but now it's a way to – we've transitioned from that period of him using the ring as a crutch and Wardlow as a crutch.
And the beauty part is that this is built 2 stars.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Wardlow and MJF get put over in this whole thing. And the CM Punk stuff lent to that MJF Wardlow feud.
Yeah.
We're going to see more of that this week because MJF has already threatened to fire Wardlow if Wardlow doesn't give him the title shot or doesn't give him the title if he happens to win it. Whatever the stipulation is contractually, Wardlow's contract with MJF says that Wardlow has to forfeit any titles that he wins directly to MJF. So I think we're getting Wardlow versus MJF for the TNT title in a pay-per-view, man.
And it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think, MJF has been on this hot streak of being like an untouchable heel for so long. He's got to start giving it back. And I think the way he gives it back is putting over Wardlow for this time. Like, if Wardlow power bombs the shit out of MJF and retains the TNT title, I'm not going to be mad at it.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And they're gonna, they're gonna revisit Punk MJF in the future too.
Yeah, that'll never go away. That'll be a long.
That can be something that could be like in the next few years, like revisited every once in a while.
Oh yeah, it's definitely evergreen. We talked about the women's championship match, Britt Baker against Rosa. Baker wins to set up the cage match in San Antonio, so we know Thunder Rosa's winning that one. Moxley Danielson. This was another one where guys bled. They beat the piss out of each other. I mean, this was and the other funny thing is there was no chains, there was no weapons. It was just hard hitting chops and forearms and punches to the face and like, oh my! There was a point at the end of the match, like towards the end of the match, where Danielson had a triangle choke with his legs on Moxley, and then he's measuring. Danielson's literally putting his fist right up to Moxley's nose to make sure he has the right, and then pulling back and just boom, one of those little short 1-inch punches right in the eye socket, right in the bridge of the nose. And like, there was no pulling a punch. Nobody was slapping a leg. He was just punching the guy in the face.
It was hard. It was fast hitting. It was amazing. You had a little technical. You had your brawler. So two different styles, right? So you have your Bryan Danielson and you have, Moxley. And it was just awesome, man, just to see both of them mix it up. And like you said, it was hard hitting, bro. It was awesome.
And we got a Regal appearance.
Yes, exactly. And it's hard to describe when you're saying why a match is good. You can say some of the moves were good and all that, but just the atmosphere of those two guys coming out. Both guys kind of similar, not very similar paths, but similar paths enough where they did independent wrestling, or whether it was like Moxley did all the CZW kind of extreme stuff. Bryan went to Japan. Bryan went to Ring of Honor before going to WWE. Then they both left looking for something different, looking for something harder hitting, and here they are. Just the atmosphere of that match, it felt like a main event match. It was up at the top of the card. If you're a fan of wrestling, like, and I'm not saying a fan of getting dog food dumped on your head or, whatever the fuck else. I'm talking about wrestling. I'm not talking about, it's a last man standing match, so we're going to, duct tape somebody's legs together like John Cena used to.
Or exploding briefcases.
Right. We're not choke slamming somebody into a big spotlight that happens to be on the side of the stage. Like, none of the goofy shit. This is pro wrestling. It was a pro wrestling match. That's what I want to see. And as you said, Eric, the big story is that after the match, the two guys were still fighting. They didn't want to let it go, even though the bell rang. Danielson had a choke in, kind of a Bret Hart Roddy Piper or Bret Hart Stone Cold situation. He had the choke in, he flipped him over and pinned him. 3 count, Moxley wins. Danielson starts a hockey fight with him. Who comes out to break it up? No music. This is no music. He doesn't come down the ramp. There's no graphics. It is from the side, as if he bought a ticket and snuck in. William Regal in a 3-piece suit comes out, and the first thing he does is take a left hand and smack the ever-loving shit out of Jon Moxley, who's already covered in blood. So he smacks him in the face and then gives him a little headbutt, like checks him with a headbutt, and now Regal has Moxley's blood on his face. And Daniel Bryan's over in the background laughing. He's like, oh yeah, get him, right? Regal turns around. He goes, we got one for you too. Bang! Friggin' smacks him in the face with the hardest left hand I've ever seen in my life. And then he says, shake hands. And like, no, we're not gonna shake. He's like, you guys are gonna shake hands or I'm gonna keep slapping the shit out of you. And they shook hands. So we've got what appears to be not just a tag team, but a dojo, a faction, a training camp that is going to be William Regal, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, and then the potential of guys like Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty, Wheeler Yuta, Swerve, some of those guys that you're bringing in now that are like young guys that need to, you know, on the come up. And I think having a faction like that is going to be, it's going to be so good for those young guys. They're going to learn from 3 real professionals. I'm excited for that. That's holy shit.
No, definitely. Like you said, you got William Regal in the mix right now. He's, to my knowledge, he's going to be working not just as an on-screen, but also behind the scenes as well.
That's so good.
That's, to me, that's so dope. Like, you know, just be able to have someone. We mentioned it on the podcast. I want to say about a couple weeks back. I think Steve was mentioning it. How just to have someone like that in your, you know, in backstage, and you can go ahead and pick that brain.
The tree of knowledge.
Nothing but knowledge, and it's just going to be amazing to see where this company evolves to. So it's kind of pretty cool.
And that's the thing. It's at a big point right now, AEW, because when it first started, up until maybe about, you know, maybe the first year or two, you were like, okay, this is a new company. They're relying on these indie guys, a smattering of AEW, you know, WWE legends like Jericho and Moxley, but mostly you're trying to build up these indie guys and whatever. Now we've gotten to a different point. They're the what they called the 4 pillars of the young guys of the company. Sammy, over. MJF, over. Jungle Boy, over. Darby Allin, over. Britt Baker, over. You know what I mean? You just look at these young people who were nobodies, and now they're made. They can keep doing that, but now they have this opportunity of like Ring of Honor, which will be their feet. You know, Ring of Honor was always, listen, guys, if you're mad at Ring of Honor being a developmental territory for AEW, it was always a developmental territory, because as soon as anybody got good in Ring of Honor, they got signed to TNA back in the early 2000s. They would get signed to NXT or Florida Championship Wrestling. Or
OVW,
you know, right.
Yep.
WWE, or they go to the main roster, or they go to you know, whatever. It was wherever it was. Ring of Honor was never like, aside for guys like Jay Lethal who said they wanted to stay there forever, it was always a jumping off point. But now it's a bigger jumping off point because it's got the money of AEW behind it. It's going to actually be feeding directly into AEW.
It's going to be amazing.
And this is the evolution of AEW. It's the evolution of the wrestling business. We didn't have real competition for 19 or 20 years since WCW got bought out. There was TNA had their little run for a while, but nobody ever caught up to Vince. And I'm not saying that they're there yet, but every year the ratings on average are going up. You know what I mean? They're getting different guys. I feel like this is the tipping point for them, where they're either going to, you know, fall off, or they're really going to establish themselves as, you know, we're the WCW to their WWF. So we'll see what happens. I'm just excited. I think the whole thing is exciting.
Any wrestling fan should be very excited right now. It's a big deal.
Oh, hell yeah.
Everybody in wrestling should be excited, unless your name is Cody Rhodes, and then you're just standing on the outside looking in. Shit. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to finish this up real quickly. There was a 6-man tornado tag match. Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting defeated the AHFO. That was Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy. Bunch of big spots. Wild. Sammy Guevara hit a Spanish fly on Isaiah Cassidy off the facade of the stage onto some tables that were on the ramp. Sting at 62 years old did a diving table spot.
Insane.
Onto Andrade, onto like 6. They
He's
stacked up
amazing.
like 6 tables. This was the same guy who took a buckle bomb from Seth Rollins, and they said he was retired and would never wrestle again because the buckle bomb fucked up his neck. I want to know what doctor he's going to, because I get winded walking up the stairs. I got to take whatever guys, you know, I don't know if it's a shake or a medication or what. I need that. Like that guy found the fountain of youth.
He really did. It's amazing.
It's great that we can still see Sting, and not that I want him jumping off shit all the time. It's just nice to see him do a big move every once in a while. Yeah, I think he's another guy that really, Darby was already going to be over anyway. being paired with Sting, another guy in the face paint, tying Darby back to like the NWA, like that's a big endorsement. So that just helps Darby even more. Unfortunately, or should we, I guess it doesn't really, sorry to spoil the show 2 days later, but Jeff Hardy did not show up. Jeff Hardy
Rumor is this week though.
Yeah, he cannot contractually show up until Wednesday because his contract expires today or at midnight. So technically, if he showed up on Sunday, it would have been a breach of contract with WWE, and they could have sued him or kept him on his contract for long, whatever it was. So they didn't do it. They're going to do it. As far as I can tell, it's going to be this Wednesday, like Steve said. And in our main event, Hangman Adam Page defeats Adam Cole.
Baby.
Adam Cole, who came out in a Halo, the video game inspired jacket,
Master Chief. That was pretty cool. I was sold to him.
Dressed like Master Chief, and it's like
that was pretty cool.
Somebody online said WWE wouldn't let him stream the video games on Twitch, and AEW will just straight up let you dress like a video game character out on stage. Jade too. By the way, Jade was dressed like Jade from
Mortal
Kombat.
Yep.
Yeah, she looked awesome.
That's why I said
flawless. She was flawless.
Victory.
That's why they did the kiss thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that why they did the kiss? Because it was the Jade. Oh, Jade's move was the. Oh, I get it now. Shit, I thought she was just being, trying to play mind games. But you're good call, Eric. Good call. But Adam Page, Adam Cole, great. I mean, what can you say about Adam Page and Adam Cole that hasn't been said? They're two young guys in the prime of their career putting on a hell of a match.
And what about that crowd? Everyone chanting, "Let's go, Adam!"
Yes,
I thought that shit was funny.
"Let's go, Adam" was yeah. They were. It's hard. It's so hard. Even though Adam Cole's the bad guy, how do you not cheer for Adam Cole? He's so fucking good. He's a personable guy. You like him online. Chugs. He Twitch streams. He's like a funny. Like even when he's talking with the Young Bucks and all that, you can still tell. Like there's something about him you want to like him. And it seems like we're doing, this Tony Khan magic of Adam Cole has been boys with the Dark Order, and Cole has been boys with Red Dragon and the Young Bucks.
Yep.
There's a little bit of like Adam Cole shoved one of the Beaver boys, Alex Reynolds, the other day on Being the Elite today. There was some kind of like Adam Page asked the Dark Order to like give him space and let him just kind of be by himself after the match. And there was also a tease on Being the Elite where Hangman wore a jacket out or a vest, a cowboy vest, and the cowboy vest had tassels on it. And at the end of Being the Elite this week, a stagehand brought that jacket or the vest into the Young Bucks locker room and said, "Hey guys, I think this is yours." And they looked at it, they go, "No, we don't wear tassels anymore." Because they said they got rid of the tassels when they were like turned heel. So there's a tease now. Page might stop being friends with the Dark Order to be friends with the Young Bucks again, but the Young Bucks aren't cool with Red Dragon, so the Red Dragon is going to go with Cole. So we're going to have Cole. Basically, we're going to have the Elite against the Undisputed Era for real. With the Bucks and Page against Cole and Red Dragon.
Right, and this is before Omega comes back too.
All without even mentioning that they showed Omega on the pre-show video. And then they had Omega's music play, and Don Callis comes out and says, "Do you know who's not here tonight? Kenny Omega." And I think what they did was they fucked up and they showed him backstage. Because of course he's going to be there to watch the show. But they showed him on camera, and then they had to figure out a way to cover it up. So Don Callis comes out and was like, no, he's not back here. He's not coming out. And he didn't. But he was there.
That's fine.
And so he's going to have to pick a side. Obviously the side he's going to pick is with the Young Bucks and Adam Page, if that's what it comes down to. Kenny Omega's not siding with Red Dragon and Cole.
Oh,
so
yeah, obviously,
it's going to be a point where I don't know what to even call them, the Undisputed Era, for lack of a better term. There's going to be a point where the Undisputed Era is getting the best of the Elite, and to help swing the momentum in the Elite's favor, Kenny Omega comes back. But then where does that put him with Cole?
Right.
Like
And
the
then
whole
there's
thing.
gonna be
There's a
some
And then you
story.
get Roderick Strong, baby, because
Roddy
that
Strong
contract's got to come to an end soon too. And then they're all. That's it.
And then there's going to be some kind of War Games-ish type of thing that's going to go down eventually.
We have
Regal's there. He can say it. No, then he can't say it.
he can't
War
say War
Games!
Games, but he can say Blood and Guts
Yeah.
because that's their
Mhm.
Blood and Guts.
Yeah.
Just fucking-
That's funny.
Oh,
That's
people
awesome.
would lose their shit if William Regal announced the Blood and Guts match between those guys. Oh, don't even put that in my head. That's great. So that's it for the pay-per-view. I mean, if you want to call it an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, yeah. If you want to call it an A minus, whatever it is, it's a pay-per-view that you should watch. And compared to the pay-per-views of the modern era, is up there as one of the greats of the last 5 years, 10 years.
I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, so what? 4 hour, 5 hour with the pre-show pay-per-view, and they got everyone glued from like pretty much 7:30 roughly until midnight.
Yeah, because
Like,
even the pre-show.
and you legit get we're not any younger. Shit, I'm almost 40, and Steve is 42. Not to put you out there like that, but to
Thank
keep
you.
a lot of guys like us still engaged in that all the way through, and still be like, wow, this is an awesome show. It says something,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And even like the pre-show had Layla Hirsch against Chris Statlander. It had Hook against QT Marshall. It had the House of Black against the Death Triangle, but the Death Triangle had to bring in Eric Redbeard as their third guy. So like, hey man, they had some cool shit going on the pre-show too. So they were definitely attracting people in to watch a whole evening of great wrestling. So switching gears from that, let's go back to Saturday night where WWE was promoting a Madison Square Garden show with a mystery opponent for Brock Lesnar. Ooh, who could it be? Is it going to be Cody Rhodes? Who is it going to be? Oh, it was Austin Theory. We just tricked everybody into paying attention to the show, and thank you for wasting your money. And fast forward to Monday night. Hey, did you buy a ticket to Raw in Monday in Cleveland or whatever it was last night? Did you get excited when Stone Cold's glass shattered and then he didn't come out and all they put was a graphic with a fucking question mark on it? Thanks for wasting your money, everybody. See you next Monday.
Once in a lifetime.
Oh, all right. So let's get into the WWE stuff. The house show on Madison Square Garden didn't really matter because Austin Theory was a mystery opponent for Brock. The only thing that came out of it was Roman Reigns choked out Seth Rollins, and then Roman Reigns came out and powerbombed Brock Lesnar on the stairs. They brought the stairs into the ring, hit him with the deal. Brock's all bloody. Roman stands tall with both of the belts. So that's kind of our...
Which is also making me think like, maybe Brock is going to win the big one. So...
Steve.
Yeah, listen.
No.
Listen, I'm just saying.
Don't you put that voodoo on me, Ricky Bobby.
No.
I'm just saying.
Steve.
Listen, I'm just saying.
Steve, no.
Never
Okay,
know,
no.
bro.
555 days and counting. Okay.
Oh.
Our tribal chief.
And
The reason why we have this podcast. Okay.
And Eddie, the other thing is Roman is also 800 days undefeated right now.
Thank you, Eric. Can you say that one more time? I missed it.
Our tribal chief, Roman Reigns,
Put the phone to my ear a little bit. What was that?
is 800 days undefeated since he came back.
Okay. Beautiful.
800 days. Wow.
Thank you.
So
I
that
mean,
was...
look, that's big.
It is 800. I mean, to not get pinned in 800 days and think about the guys he faced in that time, former world champions, Hall of Famers, whatever. But we'll roll on to Monday. There was the.
Hold on. You're going into Monday real
Should
quick.
we go to Monday, or do you want to go into SmackDown?
Hey, I don't give a shit. We can go into Monday. I just want to point out we got a shush shirt.
Oh, yes,
we
okay.
got the shirt. We talked about
the
it last week. We got the shirt.
The show opens up with a tag team title match. Alpha Academy, was it Street Profits and RK Bro? Was that the three teams?
No.
I don't even remember.
I think it was
I don't
Rollins and
it was Rollins, Kevin Owens. Right.
Right.
Why
'cause
did
have
they
to,
do the title change here? Why didn't they wait till fucking Mania?
well, I was going to ask that about the
Because they have to
Intercontinental
take Kevin Owens out of the picture to do this fucking retarded shit with Austin that doesn't sound like it's going to be a match to me. If I'm getting Kevin Owens and I'm getting the KO show at WrestleMania, I'm going to be very annoyed.
But
Because Kevin Owens
guys
should be
see
wrestling
what
a
Austin
match.
said? Have you guys seen the video?
I saw it, but it doesn't confirm that we're getting a match.
I mean, it doesn't, but Austin did say on the thing, he was just like, call it an interview, call it a wrestling match. So if it sounded like the dude is game, like he said, like 19 years, I took, my last match, I took 3 rock bottoms, I lost. It's been basically, eating me up. And now, I'm going to come back and I'm going to stomp a mud hole and walk it dry. Like, dude, it sounds like Austin, at least from what I gathered from that shit, looks like he wants to whoop that ass. He wants to have a match.
It's probably going to be
And,
like
I am sipping on a Broken Skull, IPA. That's it. Pretty good stuff. Salud.
Honestly, it's probably going to be like when The Rock beat Eric Rowan in like 10 seconds.
That's
or
what I was
whatever.
thinking. Yeah, I think it's probably going to be. I think it'll start off as a talk show segment, and then eventually the bell will ring somehow. Austin hits a stunner and pins him, and that's like the end. Oh no! So I think what's going to happen is because he already mentioned all these Texas guys.
Exactly.
We got to have our legends come out.
Thank you, Tara.
Oh my God! Yeah, if Roman loses, we are going to have to sedate Eddie. I might not even show up on that after WrestleMania. Like that Tuesday after WrestleMania, I might not even be on the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to do.
He's going to have a lot of those IPAs.
All I know is
lot.
the guy that eventually beats Roman is going to be made. But who is that guy? He may not even be on the roster right now.
I think it's Braun Breaker. They just brought him up.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, he makes the most sense.
But I think
that's what we've been saying, Braun Breaker.
Yeah, I think there has to be a tipping point where they go, this Braun Breaker thing's fucking stupid. You're gonna be Braun Steiner or whatever.
Well,
Brandon Steiner. Come up with fucking
rumors now. About the Steiners going in the Hall of Fame too.
Man, what if they? Yeah. Oh man, they do that a lot. They try and throw those Hall of Fame inductions, like Jeff Hardy, to try and get him to come back. So maybe
like that Christian one a few years ago.
Oh yeah, this could be the and even I assume that's Tara says it. Braun Breaker's the one. I think so. I think it would be business wise. If you want to build a new star, that's the decision. For long term. Short term, if you want to make people happy, if you want to make investors happy, if you want to make Peacock happy, maybe you have Brock Lesnar win it, and then it does. You've totally just ruined a 500 or 800 day storyline. So it's all going to boil down to what do the fans want, or what would be best for the fans versus what is best for NBC, Fox, and Peacock. Like they have to. Unfortunately, we're in the era where the booking decisions are not just about the show. It's about the money you receive from Saudi Arabia and from, distribution deals and streaming rights. There's more than just what's going to be a good show. You have to satisfy a lot of people. So I think we're on everything's a toss up right now. I don't think there's any match at WrestleMania that's set in stone in terms of what the finish is or who wins. I just don't have any reason to believe that
Mania is never set in stone until an hour before. I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah.
Like Rollins didn't know he was cashing in until like just before, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, the whole and that was what that upset the Wild Samoans. They were all there. Imagine inviting your whole family to WrestleMania and the finish changes an hour before your match.
Yeah, right.
Your dad's out there and your uncle's out there, and they're both, 500-pound, 6.5 feet tall football playing wrestling Samoans. Like, holy shit. If I was Vince McMahon, I would have left. I would have went right to the after party. I just would have like, all right, I'm getting out of here so the Samoans don't chase after me and flip my car over.
Haku will bite your nose off.
Yo, Haku would just bite the freaking tire off your car. I mean, yes, Haku. Oh man, that is my favorite. No, my two favorite Haku stories. One is he will bite you on the bridge of your nose.
Yep.
Oh man, I came up with a third one. The other one is where they said he reached into a guy's mouth and just snapped teeth out of his mouth.
Wow.
Just like grabbed the bottom teeth and popped them out. And then the other one was where the cops came in and maced Haku, and he sucked it into his mouth. He inhaled. Like, how? That's a badass right there. If you're inhaling mace. Anyway, Haku aside, WrestleMania is a toss-up. We don't even know. Kevin Owens, who just signed a $3 million deal, may have a match, may have a segment. Seth Rollins, former multi-time world champion, supposedly doesn't have a match for WrestleMania.
That's true.
What's penciled in is Cody, but we don't know.
And Vince, I think you might agree, this is why they should add the Money in the Bank ladder match back to WrestleMania.
Yes. I think here's what they did. They looked at, somebody one day went, WCW had Fall Brawl, but War Games was always at Fall Brawl. Why didn't they just call the show War Games? And then they go, well, if we have Hell in a Cell on Bad Blood, why don't we just call it Hell in a Cell all the time? Or if we have, a Money in the Bank, why doesn't the paper... I think they think people are too dumb to understand that a specialty match can happen at a pay-per-view and that you have to spell it out for them. But by doing that, you ruin the suspense of when a Hell in a Cell... Hell in a Cells didn't happen regularly once a year. They happened when they needed to settle a feud. Right. So the whole thing's... But I agree. I think Money in the Bank would be nice. Or like the IC title ladder match comes back with 5 or 6 guys, and you put that up, especially since they changed the title and they got it off of Sammy. Somebody realized that it was a bad idea to have Johnny Knoxville win the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania.
Thank God.
I mean...
Even though we're still getting that match, and I don't think it belongs at WrestleMania, but whatever.
Well, no, but I mean, we've got 2 nights. We've got WrestleMania is going to have 24 matches, so there's going to be a bunch that don't deserve to be on WrestleMania. It's the 2-night thing is a killer, and I know they make more money on it, but creatively, it's a killer. You have one night with 7 or 8 big matches that all deserve to be on WrestleMania. We don't need all this ancillary garbage. But anyway,
what I want to know is, what do these fans do for a fucking living that they're able to attend both nights? Because there's no way they're gonna pack. Let's say 200,000 fans roughly. Well, maybe a little bit below, but still, you're trying to pack it, right? That's what you want. That's your ultimate goal. What fan could afford to go both nights? And not even that, because there's Hall of Fame. Yep. There's Saturday, so it's Friday. There's Saturday. There's Sunday. Then there's Raw.
I was going to say there's SmackDown. NXT Stand and Deliver. Oh, SmackDown and the Hall of Fame were filmed on the same night. NXT Stand and Deliver. 2 nights of WrestleMania and a Raw.
What do these fans do? If anyone's listening, I want in. My name is Edwin Narvaez. Please, I want to know, what do you guys do for a living that you're able to go ahead and go to all these shows?
Bro, these people, they save all year round for this.
All year round. Like, I get they must live in a cardboard box.
It takes
what about the guy? So there's the guy who always wears the lime. What was that, Eric?
It takes me like at least 2 years to save for Romania.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
It's not cheap, but there's the guy who's always wearing the lime green shirt with the smiley face in the front row.
Yes,
there's
the guy who Revolution, wasn't he?
The Brock Lesnar guy.
The Brock Lesnar guy. He's always at pay-per-view. Like, he's at pay-per-views, Dynamites, and Raws.
Yeah.
There's the kid who sits in the front row with the straight long hair.
With his mother
and his mom
or whatever.
Yeah.
The sign guy.
The sign guy. Like, I don't know what these people. At least here's the thing.
I've actually been seeing the sign guy more lately at fucking AEW shows than I have at WWE shows.
Yeah, same.
I just want in.
I don't bio on him.
They did a bio on Vladimir that they aren't releasing now, and that makes me mad. Vladimir, I didn't realize that the guy was he immigrated to this country and loved wrestling, and he was one of those guys who worked to save money to go watch wrestling.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, and I would have loved to seen this full documentary and hear more about his story. I'm hoping that one day they release it,
because I want to see how he's actually living. Like, if you're saving just to go to wrestling, what are you eating for dinner? What's your life like? I just want to see what a day in Vladimir's life like. Like, what are you fucking doing, bro, with your life?
I knew a guy that worked at a Stop and Shop. And dropped like $800 at a Shawn Michaels autograph signing.
Wow.
That's a whole week's of a paycheck. That means you're working overtime or you're not eating. Or if you're working at Stop and Shop, you're just grabbing a banana or a mango on the way by. You're just
What really pisses me off is that I am somebody that has been to many WrestleManias. And what bothers me now is that I have to now decide if I am going to night 1 or night 2, knowing that I'm going to be disappointed either way. Because there's going to be something that I want to see live that I'm going to get fucking screwed out of. And what's even worse is you don't know until you've already decided which show you're going to go to. So for that, for that, fuck you, WWE. I'd rather have a 9-hour fucking one-night pay-per-view than fucking 2 nights. It sucks. And I mean, listen, from a business standpoint, I get it because they're going to make a killing doing it.
Yeah, but also we're like, I don't know if they noticed, like we're in the middle of potentially a world war. We're in the middle of like inflation. Gas is all over $4 a gallon. You think people give a shit about $500 WWE tickets? We got to afford food, man. We got to afford gas.
Seriously.
Like heating fuel when the winter comes around again. What's gas prices gonna be like then? Holy shit. And I believe, again, it's Tara here. When my parents were alive, they used to get me tickets for my birthday, and that was it. And that's just, same thing. When I was a kid, like you'd get a ticket to like, it was Christmas, and
I'd go to a house show,
Yankee Stadium. Yeah, like I'd go to a Yankee game, or I'd get like a house, like the house show at the Civic Center or whatever. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
the Heart Attack tour at Madison Square Garden,
I mean,
or
I went to tons of shows at the Garden and the original Nassau Coliseum.
Absolutely.
The old Coliseum, yeah.
Oh, Nassau Coliseum was the shit, man. We see so many shows there. But yeah, man. I mean, that's just one thing. That just really sucks, and it sucks for a lot of people because you're going to be disappointed either way. Because you have to make that decision, which one you're going to do, and it is what it is, man. It doesn't look like it's going to change. So going forward, we're going to have 2-night manias because they're stupendous.
That's the other one. So the other match that was penciled in was Vince McMahon against Pat McAfee, and thank God they changed their mind. Not that I'm looking forward to Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee. I don't know who they could have put against Pat McAfee that I'd actually give a shit about. I think it'd still be a good match.
Well, Austin Theory is going to go over. Vince is going to screw McAfee or something, and that's how you get Vince involved, which is better than having Vince wrestle.
Pat McAfee.
I'm going to
screw Pat McAfee.
And on that note, it's top of the hour.
That's it, guys. By the way, no news on Cody Watch this week because no shit happened this week. He didn't show up at MSG. He didn't show up on Raw. Rumor has it that there are multiple offers on the table, and Cody has not put ink to paper on any of them.
I actually also heard that WWE offered one amount, and then when he was going to do it, they reneged and lowered it.
Well, because I
don't know if that's true.
It sounds like something McMahon would do, though.
But here's why. I could understand why he would have done it, because the whole thing with the Attitude Era was surprise jumping from show to show. They put out this big statement and a graphic and thank you, Cody, and Cody's leaving. He's not under contract anymore. It killed the whole surprise of Cody coming over to any other company. It wasn't like what is he going to do? Now it was like, okay, officially official. There's no bullshit. This isn't a gimmick. Cody's done, which kind of deflates the surprise. But the one but is that this Monday, the 14th, Raw is in Jacksonville, Florida, the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the home of Daly's Place, the home of Shad Khan and Tony Khan, the home of AEW. And that could be, if they make a deal with Cody, when he debuts. If he doesn't come out on Monday in Jacksonville, I don't know if he's coming at all. But that's the tease we'll leave you with for this week, because it is the top of the hour. I want to thank you all for sticking with me. Eddie, Eric, Steve joining us tonight on the live stream. Thank you, Tara, and everybody else who was who had their eyes on our live podcast tonight. Thank you for sending in your comments and your questions as we went along. Of course, if you want to follow us, on the podcast or wherever else, if you want to comment on all of our stuff, our live streams are on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. Just look for Tag Me a Date or The War Report. We go live Tuesday evenings, 6 p.m. on Eastern Time, so set your clocks accordingly. social media is also at Tag Me a Date. Just put in at Tag Me a Date, no spaces, on your favorite social media app of choice. You'll probably find us. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. We're on Twitch, we're on Periscope. We are all over the place. Twitter is at Twitter. I almost gave my own. Twitter is at Tag Me a Date. Twitch is twitch.tv/War Report. Twitch is pretty. I like Twitch. I might Twitch more. I don't know, but that's how you follow us on social media. That's how you see our show. When you go to YouTube and you type in "Tag Me a Date," you can hit the bell. You can hit subscribe so you know when we're going live. If you prefer the audio version, what's that?
We're not just the War Report. We're the War Report, because there are two of them.
Exactly. There's a second War Report. So if you go on the podcast, if you try and look it up, there's a second one. But if you're going to look up our podcast and you want to listen like the audio version, we're on your podcast app, your favorite podcast app, whether it's Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, whatever it is. Just search for Tag Me a Date or search for the War Report. The icon, you're going to be able to tell if it's us or not. Obviously, if it looks like different guys, it's not us. Doesn't sound like us, not us. The other War Report, I'm sure they're a fine group of people. But if you want to find us, when you look at the icon will definitely say somewhere on there, brought to you by Tag Me a Date. So just make sure that that's us.
We should have those guys on the show one day. That'd be awesome.
You know what? I want to do more research into them and bring them on the show. I wouldn't be opposed to having them on the show. We open it up with a question. How dare you? No, kidding. I share no animosity towards those guys unless they get more views than I do. If they get more views than us, then I don't like them. But anyway, be sure to tune in to us next week. If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, it comes out between 7 and 8 p.m. that very night. If you are just want to watch our live streams, come right back here to whichever streaming app you're on, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter and Periscope. We'll be right back here, 6 p.m. on a Tuesday evening on Eastern Time for another edition of the War Report Pro Wrestling Podcast. Tell your friends, whatever. Just have a nice week, guys. We will be back as the Road to WrestleMania continues. Have a nice week, everybody.